Call the Willmar City Council meeting on Monday, July 2nd to order. Roll call.
Mayor Calvin,
Here.
Councilmember Nelson. Here. Christensen.
Here.
Schwantes.
Here.
Alvarado.
Here.
Osmus.
Here.
Maskey.
Here.
Plowman. Fagerly.
Here. 8
present, 1 absent.
And Plowman has an excused absence. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any proposed additions or deletions to the agenda?
The 2 labor items that came from,
Okay, so we'll take an adjustment for the Public Works Foreman position and approving the Recreation Director job description.
yes, please.
And the new gate at the brush site.
Okay, so we have added those 3 items. The first 2 will be simple motions. The last one, because we're spending money, will be a resolution. Okay, anything else for the good of the order? City Attorney Scott, we do have to have our MS4 public hearing as well. We'll do that at the beginning. Okay, anything else?
Move to approve the consent items.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the consent items as presented. Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Roll call.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
Schwantes.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
Osmus.
Aye.
Maskey.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
And let's go back, that resolution passes. Next, let's go back and approve the consent items by roll call, because we do have 1 resolution on there. Roll call for the consent items.
Should I read off the consent agenda?
Please.
Consent items first? On the consent agenda this evening for council's approval is the city council meeting minutes of June 18th, Willmar Municipal Utilities Board minutes of June 25th, Planning Commission minutes of June 20th, State Temporary Liquor Permit, Kennewick County Fair Association, resolution appointing election judges, the approval of playground equipment purchases, and to accept the Human Rights Commission minutes of May 15th, Willmar Lakes Area CVB meeting minutes of April 17th, Central Community Transit Operation Board minutes of March 27th, and the accounts payable through June 27, 2018. And roll call, Councilmember Christensen.
Aye.
Schwantes.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
Osmus.
Aye.
Maskey.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution passes as well. Next, I will open up the MS4 meeting and our Public Works Director, Mr. Christensen.
Mayor, members of the council, at this point, I would ask to extend that and offer the ability for anyone that is in the audience to comment on it. But I would ask that that be extended to the 16th, when I will prepare my report, or present my report.
So the MS4 meeting is open. Is there anybody here from the public who has been noticed that wishes to speak on the MS4 report? Seeing and hearing none, I'll leave the meeting open and continue it until July 16th, and council will take no action at this time.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we have consideration of approving Robbins Island Mayor's Task Force, Mr. James Miller and Rachel Skretbit.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Calvin and members of the council. We're here tonight because we are excited about Robbins Island and the changes that are happening there. We're members of the task force. The committee was started last fall. There's about 15 people on that. In your packets, you should have received when Stuart Crosby presented his recommended plan. I think it was just a month ago, and the details are surrounding that. And just the positivity that's happening at the island in the last year. I think you'll see that it's just increased, and with all that, we have some new developments and how we want the park to change. So some of the things that we're looking at, or that we did look at back in Stuart's plan, were these vision concepts. And one thing that was really high on our list was safety. Safety for pedestrians, bicyclists in and around the park. Improve access and road circulation in the park. Protect and enhance the natural features of the park. Make the park inclusive for all the community, the entire community.
I think some of the other pieces we really touched on and were intentional in the project is making sure that we maintain some of the natural beauty of the park. I think that was something that was brought up on numerous occasions, both in our sessions, but also in the session where we allowed the public to come in and share some feedback with the potential projects. The idea of it being really that not only destination park, but the central park of our city, that gem of the entire park plan. Really also realizing too that we can't stuff everything into it. We weren't going to be able to do everything out at the park. We wanted to make sure we were really intentional about the usage within the park, keeping some areas open specifically for some of the events that have come to light in the last couple of years, like Rockin' Robins, the opportunities for Willmar Fest to be able to utilize it and continue to grow, I think was very important, but also creating that safety feature, that one road in, one road out, where it did, again, take the opportunity to really look at the amenities of the park, look at the different pieces of the park, and really show off what is at the park.
And make it be a year-round park. I think a lot of people are itching for that. They want to have winter fun out there too. And that will really just show in the plan that Stuart created with having the ice skating. We're talking about expanding it. Kids want a cool place where they can, maybe their cousin wants a cross-country ski, but you can go ice skating and have some cocoa at the Four Seasons shelter to warm up afterwards, where you can really, all ages can really have fun. And then one of those other things was accessible, whether it's walking or a wheelchair, kind of how we had it with the playground. It's accessible for people of all ages and all abilities. So that's why I think Robbins Island really has shown, and what we really want to just keep expanding on.
We already have now a new welcomed entrance. If you haven't been out to see that, I think that project was finished last week, and it looks amazing. It really shows it off as a regional park center. I think the other piece that was really part of the planning principles was that sustainable systems within the park buildings and within the structures that are there, and what would be future use structures that would go out there. So there's definitely a lot of intentionality to the plan itself. We did have to take into consideration the original structure of the island itself. I mean, it literally was an island at one point where there were good quality soils and others. I think when you look at the preliminary construction estimates, it does factor in some of those pieces. Those numbers are in your packet in Appendix A. And then also some of the potential looks of the different structures and the different amenities that go along with it. It really was a comprehensive plan that was put together in a pretty good planning process that took, about 6 weeks? Or 6 meetings, I'm sorry,
meetings,
over the course of about 6 months of time. So we definitely put a lot of time into it. I think it's at this time we'd like to answer any questions that we can answer, but the idea would be to propose this added to the master park plan to move forward.
Thank you for your report. I really do appreciate it, and it's nice to see our citizens doing the report to us. So thank you, both of you, for coming in and volunteering when you were requested to do that, to step up and actually do that report. So I know when I take a look at what's happened out at the island, two names that come to the top of my mind right away are the two of you. Rachel, with all the work you did on the destination playground, and James, with what you do with everything, with Willmar Fest and the lights and helping with stuff with Rotary, with getting the sign out there and all that. So the work that the two of you do is just unbelievable. You have boundless energy, and it's so fun. So council, are there any questions that you have specific? I think if you look at page 90 of our report, it kind of talks about some of the things they were talking about, and that's the parking and the one way in, one way out, and some of those things. So if you're looking at it for a reference point, maybe page 90 might be a good point to do that. Councilmember Mansky.
Thank you for the presentation. Just a quick question. I see that both of the options are in the plan, as we talked about. You're not recommending a particular option this evening, or are you?
Well, we are recommending what was presented by Stuart. He did have 2 concept plans.
Right.
And we are recommending the one that their team recommended.
So you are recommending the southern road route?
Yeah, it would be the
As a-
updated master pan concept, as it's misspelled in there.
Yes.
Okay, then I do have a question about that one specifically.
Yep.
As you talk about the concern of safety, please alleviate my concern I have when we have that one road crossing in front of potentially 2 really active areas of that
There
park.
is going to be, what would you call it, a bridge?
Well,
Right.
we've got a couple
Walkway.
of options. It's going to be by the new four-season structure for one, where that primary crossing will be. And what we're looking at is, and this actually was something we talked about numerous times at the meeting, would be looking at a raised crossing area. So vehicles would have to slow down in order to get through that area.
Okay.
That was one of the things that we went back and forth on between the 2 concepts, which makes more sense. There really are ways for us to really meter that area, whether it's through signage, but again, the idea of a raised or very large speed bumped type crossing area. One of the things, if you look at that multi-season porch, along with the new dock area and the beach, was kind of creating that triangle of service area. With the playground in there too, there really is that intentionality of trying to create an area where you physically have to slow down in order to cross.
And as you can see by the road, the way it zigzags, it kind of makes it kind of like a figure 8. You have to be slow when you're driving in those loops, which is different now. It's just straight into the road where you can be going faster. Here, the road coming in, you have to take a left, and you're going straight, and you're doing a circle. There's no way, or should be no way, that you would be going at a higher speed.
Okay.
And one thing that is going to be key for all this is signage. Signage. I just ran around the island. I did today, and then I did a couple days ago, and there was a gentleman driving the wrong way on the road. So it just tells you, I think one thing we don't have enough out there is the signage of saying, maybe children at play now, 5 miles an hour driving, and which really the current way, it says wrong way, but you're already halfway through the road when you get to that. But I think signage is going to be the key here.
Thank you.
Councilmember Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If we approve this as the master plan, does it mean that we're agreeing to all these desired elements and features on here? I see a concert venue, band shell, and then underneath that, a small amphitheater on the hillside. I'm not sure we need that out there. It's going to take up some value of space, and we have our portable band shelter that's really utilized well. You can put it up anywhere. I don't foresee us
This is the
putting.
wonderful thing about this, I think, Councilman Christensen, is it's a plan. We're still a working document, but because of what happened with having the playground there, and we're going to celebrate the light of the world, we have Rockin' Robins, it just changed the layout, and then I think the mayor wanted to really form a committee to see what is going to be the year-round use here, and a better kind of a layout. It doesn't necessarily say we have to follow it to a T, in my opinion.
I think the only thing that would be, I don't want to say set in stone, is because those legacy dollars would be the four-season facility that would go in there, as well as the boardwalk areas. As for the outdoor band shell or the amphitheater or any of the other amenities themselves, I think that would be dependent upon what funds are available and what usage is out there. I can speak from a Rotary Rockin' Robin standpoint. We don't need it tomorrow, but I think as we continue to grow that event, having that infrastructure in place will be beneficial, not only to us, but other organizations that want to utilize that site. I know Atlas and the Fortress are working on a Christian concert event that would utilize some of that same space. I think the potential for those opportunities, as well as other events that could utilize a stage like that. I know when St. Cloud added it into Lake George area, that really increase the number of opportunities for rental opportunities for them for different events. So I think it's looking at those potential things what might be usable, what might be opportunities for us to use for some revenue sources as well. I think that was one of the keys when we looked at the winter concept too, is making sure that we're taking that into mind. The ski trails that are on there are proposed. We can certainly shorten them or lengthen them, utilizing all the different spaces we have out there. But it's the idea that there's concepts and different opportunities for zone of use. Whether they come today or 10 or 20 years down the road, it's all part of that living, breathing document that is a master plan.
There's a lot of good ideas here. I mean, I'm not opposed to all of this, but I'm opposed to those buildings, the abandoned shelter types. First of all, they got to be maintained. It takes taxpayer dollars. And the movable band shell we have is if we need a second one, get it, because you can put it up, take it down, you can put it wherever you want. If the sun is shining in your eyes, you flip it around and put it the other way. And in the past, when we've approved of a master plan, whatever it was for, and 3 months later, somebody opposes something, they say, it's in the plan. I've heard that, it's in the CIP. And so I'm very cautious when approving a master plan, because we'll be told somewhere down the road, well, it was in the plan. So, and even though it's going to cost, I don't know, $500,000 to build a band shell or whatever it is, but I'd say be cautious on that, because I like the movable one. You can move it, you can use it all around town, and it's been used just very well at Robbins Island. The community orchestra or band and the Rock and Robbins. I would say be cautious, because wherever you would put these facilities, band shell or amphitheater, it's going to take up space that could be used in other ways. Wherever you put it now, we can't have a soccer field there. You can't have whatever you're going to utilize it for, a softball field or a group picnic or something. It takes up space, it takes maintenance to keep it up, and the movable one, to me, is just the best option. So if it's in the plan, I probably would abstain on this, but I like what you're doing. I think that the overall plan is great, but I just got to be cautious where you put buildings out there, because they're going to be there forever.
Yeah. Well, Willmar Playground wasn't in the 2015 plan, and then a group came along and fundraised and really pushed hard to get that in the plan, because they saw that the playground there was, for the size of the island, wasn't good enough. And, to me, I just look at this still as and if we need to reference that for the mayor's terminology, it's a plan. It's something that gets us started. It's it's not saying that this is how it's exactly going to be, but at this time, we're thinking now and thinking the future. And with Stuart's amazing work, how things were pinpoint and listening to the community, I think this is what we came up with. We have a lot of citizens that are really starting to want more fundraising efforts, and they want to put it at the island. So this is also an opportunity just to get more fundraising dollars in the island too, and not just look at the city of Willmar.
The playground was a great idea, and it was put in a space that wasn't used. People walk through there, but it was a perfect spot for it. A band shell or amphitheater is going to be out in the open where you can have thousands of people out in front of it. And you're going to take up that valuable space again. I would opt for the portable one. But anyway, the overall plan, there's a lot of good things in here, a lot of good things.
Well, like I said, I think the locations of these, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we had it, so we wouldn't create that problem. We'd have multiple use open space as much as we could on the island, because that's really what it is. When you think of the island, you think of openness and nature, and that's what this plan does, with leaving everything kind of open on the north side and even on the east, and having the amphitheater tucked in over on the left side. Again, I don't think it's taking anything away over here.
But I think you're right. We have to look at it from the standpoint of potential, not necessarily set in stone by any means.
Yep.
Councilmember Schwantes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Gretvet, Mr. Miller, I just want to say thank you to you and to all of the mayor's task force that worked on this project. I think that you came up with a fantastic plan in a very short period of time, really, very efficient. You respect all the different areas the plan respects all the different areas of the island itself. We've got various seasons that people can be involved in. you know, the Robbins Island has just come alive. And when I drive by, and I do on a daily basis, it's amazing to me to see how many vehicles are there and how many people are out using the whole Robbins Island. I think this is a fantastic park. I'm really thrilled with this plan. I think the process that you followed, the community input that was received, all of it was really great, and I support this, and I want to thank you very much for all the hard work and effort.
Thank you very much.
Councilmember Miskey.
It is a plan, and I guess I like the idea that it is set in stone, because basically if there's no money to fund those project pieces, they don't happen.
Exactly.
And as those, if they come on, and we're looking at a variety of different ways of funding these things, and if some of those come true, those pieces may be put in there, and if they don't, they don't. So I don't see this as set in stone, but Councilmember Christensen's comments are well stated, that people will say, oh, it was in the plan. And if we don't put it in there, they say, but it was in the plan.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, if the funding isn't there for that part of the plan, it doesn't happen. So I like I like the plan. I think a lot of these pieces would be really great, and I hope we find the funding to do them. But if someone thinks that this is exactly what the park is going to be very soon, that is probably not realistic, but it will evolve into that, and I think it's a good plan, so it's a good place to start. So
Yeah.
thank you.
I mean, as the term says, concept, right on the thing, concept plan.
Well, and I think we got to remember too, we're going to need to prioritize what projects get done when the funding is available, or as the funding comes in. We've heard loud and clear, because of the new playground, we need better permanent bathrooms in close proximity to the playground. We were very intentional about maintaining some of the pieces that were out there. Obviously, the disc golf course has been an important part about the revitalization of Robbins Island, to make sure that we do as little damage or change to that as possible, keeping that in mind, but also looking for future developments of what might end up in the park. So it is all concept, it's all potential for what this park could look like in the next few years.
I would be remiss, though, I just thought of something. I was approached by a couple of folks that were talking about shade shelters over the destination playground might be very helpful. They said it's getting very hot. So I don't know where that fits into the grand scheme of things, but that's
Yeah.
another thing that perhaps we need to look at for Robbins Island.
Kind of similar to what is at Rice Park with those nice colorful shades.
Exactly.
Councilmember Alvarado.
Thank you. You guys are amazing. Anyways, so we're still going to have the loop available for the see the Christmas lights or the light show.
It's the potential, because the great thing about this plan with that, the white line you see going around, it's the road that's already there.
Good.
So we're saving a lot of money by keeping that, but there is the potential. I mean, that's up to the, I guess, Celebrate the Light of the World Committee
Sure.
of what they're going to do.
Cool.
But there is the potential, because the road is capable, or that biking path can handle cars, because it's the road that's being used now.
Good. I like Mr. Christensen's idea of using the portable, and that might be a plan to park it where the permanent one may be, just to see how it's gonna feel.
Sure.
And do you get the turnout there? Is that the right spot for it? So the portable gives us an opportunity to experiment, and I think that's a good idea. I've seen the sign, I've seen it lit up, pop. It really pops. So thank you to the Rotary for that. Yeah, great plans and vision. Thank you.
So I guess at this point, Mr. Holland, I think we would like a motion to accept the concept of the updated master plan, correct?
That's correct, Mayor, yes.
So a motion's been made to accept the updated master plan concept as presented.
Who made the motion?
Motion made by Kathy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign.
I'm going to abstain, Mr. Mayor.
6 ayes, 1 abstention. Thank you for your report. Thank you for your time. And I guess we would be amiss if we didn't thank you for all your community involvement. I think when you take a look at 2 people that do a ton of stuff in our community, they're standing in front of us right now. So thank you for all your volunteer time that you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Next, we have consideration of Midwest Storage Second Edition Preliminary Final Plat. Mr. Peterson.
Getting the right one here, Mr. Mayor. Mayor Kelvin, members of the council, Midwest Storage Second Edition is a very simple replat of 2 parcels. The original plat of Midwest Storage Edition was done the end of 2017, and since that time, the owner of the property decided that he wanted to relocate a kiosk on the site, but in order to relocate the kiosk, it had to be on the same property as the storage facilities themselves. So it simply required an adjustment in 2 lot lines to bring the parcel with the storage buildings on it further out towards Highway 12 and to enable access into this new lot where the kiosk could be. Very little that needs to be done in this particular case except to change a couple utility easements. Those easements are being changed on the final plat. It's a recommendation of staff that the council approve the combined preliminary and final plat due to the simplicity of this particular subdivision.
I'll move to approve, Mr. Mayor, with A and B as conditions.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve recommendations of staff to approve the preliminary and final plats with the following conditions. 6-inch utility easement shall be reflected in the lot line changes along the interior of lot line between lots 1 and 2, and a private water line utility easement across lot 1 shall be reflected on the plat. Discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Next, we have for consideration a Public Works Foreman salary adjustment. Mr. Meske, do you want to handle that, or you want Mr. Christensen to handle that?
Mr. Christensen can do that. That would be great. Sorry.
You can do it from there, Sean.
I don't have both of my minutes open.
Mayor, members of the council, as per our discussion at the work session earlier this evening, I would recommend or push forward staff's recommendation to adjust the Public Works Foreman position as stated.
Could you go into a little bit more detail for those that might be watching this portion that didn't watch the work session, and for those in attendance, please?
If you give me 1 second, I sure will.
I can read the history if you want.
As per previous discussion and approval by the council, we have currently are advertising rather the project manager position within the Public Works Department. In order to place that project manager position at a salary that doesn't put it above what the foreman currently is, the foreman salary needs to be adjusted so that it is would be truly the second in charge on absence of the superintendent. So this proposal would approve the pay scale for the newly formed, or in reference to the newly formed project manager position, but that would raise the Public Works foreman as provided in the documentation to the range of $25.16 an hour to $34.64 per hour.
Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve salary adjustment for Public Works Foreman position. Discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion does pass. Next is approval of the Recreation Director job description. Mr. Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. As discussed earlier in the Public Works, in the work session this evening, the Community Education and Rec Director has obviously retired, and this position is due to the retired of that position, or that individual, as well as the separation of the joint agreement between the school and the city. So this is one of our initial steps in getting that rec department up and running, is to create this rec director position. So in front of you is the job description and title and range, salary range rather, for your approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the job description and salary range for the recreation director for the city of Willmar. Council, any questions? Councilmember Meske.
Just a comment on the sheet there from the work session, just to show you some of the things that were added is facility management, supervisory responsibilities, more civic center responsibilities, and the Dorothy Olson Aquatic Center were all added to that description as well, so people understand what has been added to that. I think that's important.
And then this is a salary schedule 12, and that's consistent with all of our department director positions?
Correct.
Okay. Additional discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
I think it's going to be very important for this person to be visionary and be open to new ideas. We've got a real exciting community. We've seen it with the park board and your mayor's task force and what's happening out there. They have to be visionary and aware of what's going on. We have to be on the cutting edge if we're going to be a regional city, and I'm going to put a lot of responsibility on that person to do that.
Okay. Additional discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Next is we need to install a control gate out at our brush site. Councilmember Christensen, you want that, or do you want Mr. Christensen take it?
Well, it's pretty simple. The staff is recommending we put a motorized gate on the brush site out there, so only fob holders or card holders can access that, and the gentlemen that are working out there will have it open during brush site hours, and when it's closed, others, private people cannot get in there unless they have a fob or a card, which they shouldn't have. They're recommending this, that we appropriate $15,000 from the 2018 CIP Public Works floor drain repair project to fund the brush site and gate system project. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to do a gate project out at our brush site and allocate $15,000 from a drain floor project that will be done in-house. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Schwantes.
Aye.
Alvarado.
Aye.
Osmus.
Aye.
Maskey.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
Nelson. Aye. Christensen.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
That resolution passes. Next are city administrator comments.
Mayor and council, I just have one announcement. Sarah Anderson, our planner, asked me to announce that we will have the meet and greet for the Main Street initial meeting, and that will be at the Goodness Coffee, and that's on July 10th. That's a Tuesday at 4 o'clock. So at the Goodness. 5 o'clock? We have the owner of the Goodness here, and she says it's 5 o'clock. So I will take her word for that. So 5 o'clock, by mistake, July 10th, Tuesday. So hopefully all of you can attend, and of course all businesses and the whole community is invited to attend to hear more about Main Street and what we're going to try to do over the next year. So thank you.
Thank you, sounds good. And then that will be on our website as well. Can we make sure that gets placed on the website?
That will be on the website.
Mayor's comments. We had a very successful Willmarfest, great event. My wife and I decided this year we're going to try to attend as many of the events as we can. And we always try to attend a lot of the events, but this year we made a conscious effort. I think there was one day I attended 8 events for Willmarfest. And so another day there was 5, another day there was 6. And so a lot of times, we don't realize all the stuff that happens with Willmar Fest. And they really do a lot of good in our community. And again, James Miller, as the chair of that, again, another one of his volunteer things that he does for our community, really is, they really do nice work. So I just want to give a shout out to them and our new candidates as well. We should make sure and get them on one of our upcoming agendas so that we can meet the new people, the new queen and royalty.
Okay.
So it'd be good to do. I think we usually do that at the next meeting after. We would normally have done that tonight, but
Okay.
we didn't do that, so.
We can do.
And other than that, a lot of great things happen in our community. Get involved and make good things happen, so that's all I have. Councilmember Schwantes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was has been a busy couple of weeks with various grand openings, including PetSmart and the trucking firm.
Magnum.
Magnum, thank you. Habitat for Humanity. So a lot of good things that are happening. I just wish everyone a very safe and happy 4th of July. And I would note that I will not be able to attend next week's work session due to a prior commitment before this was scheduled.
Okay. Councilmember Alvarado.
I had the opportunity to participate in some activities downtown, marching to keep families together. Happened Saturday. Then the Somalian Independence Day happened on Sunday. They had not dance, but music in the streets downtown, which was fun and well attended. And then I had the opportunity to go over to the community center and watch the dance. And like most dances, they don't come alive until about 9, 10 o'clock, and this was no different. And then it was closed down at 11. So, but it looks like there was a lot of fun going on during that time. I'm just going to share a story. My grandparents are Italian. They came across the boat with my uncle, Corrado. Uncle Corrado was a little boy, and my aunt was in the womb when they came across into Ellis Island, and I can't imagine them being separated. Had that happened, I don't know if I'd be here, but it didn't. So I'm second generation, and I'm very proud of my family heritage. My Uncle Corrado served the United States Army. He died in France, providing a better life for myself and all of us as Americans. It speaks highly of family. I think family is very important. And I heard a concept that I thought was neat. We love our families, and we want the best for our families. But when they come to America, we are an American family, and we have to embrace each other. And I think we have to remember that as we get to know our new citizens. We have to share the family love. It's not, the great families have the love. You know, you look around at all these people that have wonderful families, blessings, you know. I think during this holiday season, embrace your family, share the love, and be thankful for what you got. And if you see a vet, thank a vet. Thank Ron and Ike. I appreciate your service. Thank you.
Julie?
Julie, I'm sorry. I looked around, I'm sorry. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Osmus.
I can't follow that. I don't have any story. Nothing, just wish everybody a safe and happy 4th.
Councilmember Meske.
I wasn't going to say anything either, but now I will say thank you for your family's service and sacrifice. And yeah, Willmar Fest was amazing. And I thank all of you around the table that were participating in many of the events, and we looked very unified. I say we are unified. It was a very nice thing, particularly in the parade. I like that a lot. In the other events, when you went out to the ski show, that was amazing. You heard a little testimonial here today from the folks that were working at Robbins Island, but that was incredible. I would love to know if we had a head count of how many people were in attendance there, but I have never seen that many people parked at Robbins Island. It was truly amazing. So let's keep up the good work, and happy 4th of July.
Councilmember Fagerly.
Just have a happy and safe 4th of July.
Councilmember Nelson.
Happy 4th of July, too, and I would thank Councilmember Meske for sharing his candy on the since he appropriately tossed it to lots of people along the road. So there were more, but he was next to me and shared. So thank you.
No worries.
Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Oh,
You forgot.
Councilmember Christensen,
How could you forget?
you were sitting back. I couldn't see you. That's an excuse, by the way.
I've attended the Block Party Coffee Fest, or Willmar Fest for, well, since its inception. And I think this was one of the best ones they had. The numbers of people there were just, and there were so many new people there. I mean, I bet I didn't know 25 people there. And then a lot of parents with their children. It was a great block party. And coming into Willmar for the fireworks, I could not believe the number of cars, not just on the island. If you went across the road, they were parked even on the highway. It was so it was a great event, and I would like to know the numbers too. And then I have one comment. I called City Hall for the recording or minutes of the building committee for the City Hall, and I was told there wasn't any, and I was kind of, I question that. I mean, are we not doing minutes at that meeting or recording it? Because our charter says we will record all meetings.
Well, Rack 8 was there recording it. It was recorded.
The building committee,
Not the,
not the public forum one. Just the building committee was Ike and Julie and yourself and a few others, a couple other people. I wanted to review what was said at those meetings, and there was, the HR person said she didn't know there was minutes taken or it wasn't recorded. I know that. So maybe we could do that down the road here so we can all be filled in with what's going on.
I just assumed that was being done. I guess I didn't know it wasn't being done. Thanks for pointing that out.
move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
We didn't get in trouble for
Say, Sean,
Sure.
haven't heard either, so.
They believed it was the highest number of people at Robbins Island in the past, ever. Yeah.